Today we will talk about the weekly facts which actually came in the last week. So firstly we will talk about the reports. So in this week actually the state of food security and nutrition in the world report actually came, and this report is released by the Food and Agriculture Organization, International Fund for Agricultural Development. Another is the United Nations Children Fund and World Food Program and World Health Organization. So this report is released by the collaboration with the 5 international organizations. So remember that what is in this report, that half of the undernourished actually children in Asia. What do you mean by undernourished? Which is actually the lack of iron and lack of basically a nutrition, well balanced nutrition, is known as the undernourished children, which actually half in the Asia, which consists of around 48 countries, and population 480 million population, and one third live in Africa, and which include 282 million children. Another is the 1 out of 3 people, means if there is a 3 people, then out of 3 people there is 1 people which actually didn't have access to adequate food in 2020, and which consists around the 3 billion population all over the world. Another is the India Inequality report actually came in this week, and that is released by the Oxfam International. So what is in this? If you compare, or if you have a summary, then what we can say: general category. As you know, there is a India in the caste system, which we have divided in the general, OBC, SC, ST. So general are better than the SC, ST. Hindus are better than the Muslim, rich are better than the poor, men are better than the women, urban areas is better than the rural. Condition means, if you are talking about the condition, basically in the health sector, if we compare in the health indicator. Now we will talk about the different segments like sanitation and literacy, etc. So now let's talk about the different segments of the inequality where actually exist. So according to the India Inequality Readers, if we talk about the literacy and especially among the women, then obviously there is a highest in the general category, and if you talk about the especially the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe, then out of 100 around the 18.6% literacy among women in SC category, and ST category 27.9%. Let's say if there is 100 SC category women, then around the 19 women are only actually getting the education in SC category, and around the 28 in ST category. If we talk about the sanitation, which is a main segment especially, then if we talk about in the general category, then around the 66% non-shared access of sanitation, means the toilet especially. And if we talk about the SC scheduled caste category, then around only the 28.5% and ST 40%. Another is the institutional deliverage. Institutional deliverage means if there is any scheme actually launched by the central government or state government, then how actually it is reaching to the people, known as the institutional delivery, or any kind of things which is actually launched by the government, and are you getting to the people or not. So this is known as the institutional delivery. Then the access means the increment of this institutional delivery has been increased sharply. If you compare in 2005, then only the 38.7% institutional delivery, and now in 2015 and 16 are now up to around the 80%, and it may be around the 82% or 83% now. Means the more and more people are benefited from the institutional delivery. Another, if we talk about in the ST category, then it is only around the 15%, and if we talk about the Muslim category, then the 12%, and there is a 35% gap. Another is the life expectancy, means if you are born, then what age actually you will alive. So this is known as the life expectancy. So bottom 20% strata of the population, then their life expectancy means they actually age 65%. And if we talk about the bottom 20 or top 20%, then it is around the 72.1%, 7%, around the 73%. So this is all about the India's inequality report. So now facts related to the polity, international relation and the social justice, whatever came in the last week. So firstly, that Supreme Court, actually the SC struck down the Part 9B of the 97th Constitutional Amendment, which is actually related to cooperative society on the basis of Article 368(2). So now what happened? Actually, in the Gujarat High Court, there is a 2013 case, and which actually on the basis of similar provision, Article 368 struck down the Part 9B of the 97th Constitutional Amendment. What is the Article 368(2)? Actually, it is related to the amendment in the federal polity. So if you have to amend the federal polity, then you not only needed actually the 2/3 majority by the parliament, but also the 50% ratification or half of the state ratification by their legislative assembly. And this Part 9B or this 97th Constitutional Amendment only passed by the 2/3 majority of the parliament, and not actually took the ratification of half of the state. And that's why on the basis of this Article 368, Supreme Court as well as in the Gujarat High Court in 2013 actually struck down the Part 9B of the 97th Constitutional Amendment. If you want to know more about this, then you can watch my video and link in the description. Another is the USA, Afghanistan and Pakistan and Uzbekistan actually recently formed a new quadrilateral group and popularly known as the Quad group. Actually, why this group focused on enhancing the regional connectivity. As you know, there is a recently Afghan issue is in the frequently in news, and these are the stakeholders. Another is very important related to the social justice. If we talk about 1.19 means the around the 1.19 lakh children actually lost their caregivers. Caregivers means whatever they are caring. It can be parents or either grandparents or other uncle or aunt, etc. whatever. So actually they lost their parents, means the death took place. This is meaning. So if you talk about India as at the third position after the Mexico, actually where the children lost 1.40 lakh children lost their caregiver, and Brazil 1.30 means the lakh actually child. And if you talk about the globally, then around the 12 lakh actually children lost their caregivers, or you can say the caregivers means parents, grandparents and whatever who are taking taking care of the children. So in the actually child who actually lost their children, if we compare with the father and mother, means the how many children lost their father and mother, then the children who lost father 5 times more actually who lost the father. If you compare the father, then father actually died 90,751, and if you compare with the mother, then the 25,500. Another is very important related to the prisoners, actually those who are because of the mental health issues, the prisoners which actually died. So National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences actually launched the gatekeeper model. This gatekeeper model, the main thing about the gatekeeper model is actually to prevent the deaths among the prisoners. So actually what this gatekeeper model will do, gatekeeper where the inmates means the actually the trained staff to talk with the prisoners and those who have the mental health resources actually causing the deaths, and this through gatekeeper model actually deaths will be prevented. And another is the buddy system. Buddy system means there are the trained staff in itself in the prison, and actually who will actually train the prisoners, and through trained prisoners actually staff, and they will prevent the death. Another is very important related to the prisoners, e-Mulakat, an online platform will also be launched. Actually they can talk with their relatives, either the mother, parents or whatever, even the advocate as well. So this is all about what thing you need to remember. Gatekeeper model related to the prisoner. What is the main aim? Main aim is to prevent the deaths among prisoners. Another facts related to very important actually the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, the full form of the OPEC. What is the aim of that summit? Actually increase in the production of oil. So what happened, and there is a confrontation took place between the United Arab Emirates and the Saudi Arabia. So what United Arab Emirates said that our capacity is more than what actually OPEC trying to tell us to increase the production of oil. So that led to the confrontation between the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia when the last summit held. Now there is a compromise actually has been took place. If you want to know more about this, then you can watch my video and link in the description. I have actually told all the issues whatever related to the and what actually challenges in the India, how actually India heavily depended on import, and whatever are the solution I have told, link in the description. So now the compromise has been took place between the United Arab Emirates and the Saudi Arabia to increase the crude oil production. And as you know, there is a cut. Means when there is a COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, then what happened? The $20 barrel is the price of the crude oil. So what happened? This OPEC country, which is actually work as a cartel formation, so they actually cut the production in the oil in 2020, and that deal signed for the 2022. So now the price has been actually the $70 or 75 barrel per day. So now what happened, that the OPEC country decided to increase the oil production, and that's why, so there is a confrontation earlier between the United Arab Saudi Arabia, and now there has been compromise to place, and that's why they will increase the production in oil prices, which is the good news for India. Another is very, very important. Asian Development Bank actually forecasted the India's growth 10% from earlier 9%. So there is a reduction in 1% because of the second wave of COVID-19. Now the inflation projection is 5.5%. Earlier it was 5.2%, now 5.5% because of the inflation is what? Consistent rise, or you can say the persistent rise in the prices of goods and services is known as the inflation. Another is important, especially from the subjective point of examination. So related to the police. So now what happened that, as you know, if police actually takes a man or woman, then it sometimes lead to the custodial torture or custodial death. So that data is related. 1st April from the 13th November 2015 actually laid down by the Kiran Rijiju in the parliament. So what said that the 25,387 actually cases registered on the police itself. Why cases registered police on itself? Because the 111 actually death under the police custody took place. Another is the 330 custodial torture has been took place, and that's why there is a, as you know, there is a famous case in the Tamil Nadu where actually the father and his son actually died during the police custody. Another is the 24,196 other. And if we compared about the Australia, UK and USA, then this is the highest in India which actually took place. This is actually more or less similar which actually Australia had in 20 years or 30 years, and that's why this is more. Although police reform is a very, very contentious issue and lack of political will is the main reason, that's why our police is like this. Next fact related to the health. So according to the World Health Organization, 50% of world population, 785 million, actually are the mental disabled, and that messenger people actually with the dementia, it actually affects your brain, so that is known as the dementia. Another is the memory loss and anxiety street related, and Alzheimer's, also known as the Kala Azar disease. So what happened that in which actually 74% senior citizen affected who have the above 60 years age, and 88% has the anxiety after the pandemic. So this is the data. So what is the solution to this problem? The solution is the compound. So what is compound? Compound is the mixture of many things. So that is the compound actually the beta-sitosterol, which is a kind of drug actually reduces the anxiety. And the main source of this sitosterol, so we cannot buy this drug, then what is the main source is actually the plants. And this main source, so what is actually reduces the anxiety, dementia, stress related. So what we have to eat? We have to eat the nuts, almonds, pista, walnuts and chicken pea etc. to reduce this anxiety, stress related, or either this drug beta-sitosterol. Another is the time to time magnetic resonance imaging, and another is the positron emission tomography, which is in the hospital take place and which can detect the actually the condition which is related to the dementia. So this is all about. Another we will talk about the surveillance laws in India. As you know, actually the Pegasus issue recently in news and Pegasus spyware. If you want to watch my video in the Pegasus spyware, then the link in the description. So surveillance laws in India. The first laws we actually give the government permission to surveillance in our phone or the computer devices. So first is the section 5 clause 2 of the Indian Telegraph Act 1885. Remember that this is actually the colonial legacy and colonial act. What actually in this Indian Telegraph Act 1885 said actually the government can actually intercept our message or the classes of message from our computer or the phone. So this is the first. Another is the section 419 of the Indian Telegraph Rules 1951. What actually it said? If you want to surveillance in our phone, or if the government are actually surveillance in our phone, or actually look in the phone messages or whatever in the related to the, then they have actually to take the permission of the Home Secretary of the to the central government. So this is the section 419A of the Indian Telegraph Rule 1959. Another is the section 69 of the IT Act 2000, which is the very famous. So each actually give the government power to decrypt the any messages or information from our phones or the computers, etc. So this is the three surveillance laws, and Indian Telegraph Act actually give the permission, and another is the section 69 actually. Under is the section 66. Actually this is the, if the government intercept our phone or computer, then there is a punishment under the section 66 if government actually illegally done. So why there is the issue related to the section 66? Because the government actually illegally are they intercept our phone, or if the government didn't use it, then there is a related to the National Security Act, then the FIR should be lodged either the related to the national security, or if the government intercepted, then actually intercepted illegally or snooping the phone of journalists, then they have to punish under the section 66. So if you want to know more actually the Pegasus spyware, then you can watch my video, link in the description. So this is all about the weekly facts whatever came in the last week. Thank you guys, hope you will like this video. You should subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.